Today I'm going to share and review some Geeki Tikis Golden Girls Tiki mugs. If you're into tiki mugs, tiki cocktails, or just can't resist the idea of sipping a Mai Tai from Dorothy's Bornak's face, stick around. I'll be making a classic tiki cocktail for each of the Golden Girls because honestly, what's more on brand for them than drinks and drama?
Shut up and drink.
I'll discuss my opinion on the mugs and then make some classic tiki drinks in them. Feel free to skip using the chapters if you're looking for a specific tiki drink recipe. I'll be making a Bitter Mai Tai, a Peachtree Punch 2.0, a Lost Lake cocktail, and a Blue Hawaii cocktail. As far as the Golden Girls tiki mugs go, it's hard not to love them. They aren't quite as intricate as some of the mugs I've purchased at places like Tiki Tatsuya, Frankie's, or Trader Vic's. They don't have multiple colors on them, which gives them a more minimal vibe, but they're still pretty cool. I like the way they made them different sizes. Note that the Sophia one is the shortest and Dorothy is the tallest. If these were the actual Golden Girls, Sophia's mug would probably be yelling at Dorothy's for taking up too much space in the cupboard. I spent $120 on Amazon for the set of 4, which doesn't seem too outlandish. I'm not disappointed with the purchase, but I think $20 or $25 each would be a more fair price, considering other mugs in my collection are in the $30 to $35 range. I'll leave an Amazon link in the description in case you want your very own set. Now that we've admired these mugs, let's put them to good use and pair each Golden Girl with her perfect tiki drink. We're kicking things off with Dorothy, the queen of sarcasm and side-eye. Naturally, her tiki cocktail is a Bitter Mai Tai.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The gentleman at table 5 in the blue suit is impotent. Bon appetit.
Dorothy's sharp tongue deserves a cocktail with a bite, and Campari delivers. The Smith & Cross rum, with 57% alcohol, won't hurt either. The Bitter Mai Tai was invented by Jeremy Oertel at a Brooklyn bar called Dram, which is unfortunately closed, but I'm glad the recipe lives on. So in our Bitter Mai Tai, we're going to put 1.5 ounces of Campari. Some specs for this, like the Educated Barflies, use an equal amount of rum and Campari, but I'm going to use the original version that has more Campari in it. And then I'm going to add 3/4 ounce or 22 milliliters of my Jamaican Rum. I'm using Smith & Cross, 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of Dry Curaçao, 1 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, and 3/4 ounce or 22 milliliters of Orgeat. I'm using the Lieber & Company brand. It's one of my favorites. Alright, so one thing about making drinks in these tiki mugs is that they're huge. Not just the Golden Girls ones, but all of them. So if you're using pebble ice or crushed ice, you can just kind of fill it almost to the top with it before you pour your drink in. And I'm also going to just put some of the pebble ice into my shaker. And just like with a regular Mai Tai, I don't feel the need to shake the Bitter Mai Tai for a really long time, just enough to chill it a little bit. So just like for my traditional Mai Tai, I'm going to garnish this with a mint sprig and a lime wheel. Just because this is a tiki mug and I want to be over the top, I'm going to put a little Tiki Tatsuya swizzle stick for some extra color, and a Surfside Sips glass straw. Hey, there's our Bitter Mai Tai. Next up, Blanche Devereaux. This Southern Belle needs something sweet, fruity, and just a little extra.
Oh, I wonder how this thing works. Oh, just like the Jetsons.
Since she's originally from Atlanta, we're going with a Peachtree Punch 2.0. The original Peachtree Punch was created for Trader Vic's in Atlanta, but Martin Cade of Smuggler's Cove gave the recipe an upgrade, which is in the Smuggler's Cove book. Normally, I probably would have just shaken this with pebble ice, but I wanted to make it exactly like the book says, so I ordered the string mixer off of Amazon to flash blend it. So we're going to build this drink in the little tin that came with the drink mixer. The first step is to take half a peach, hit it and chopped with the skin on, and dump it in. Then we're going to add 3 ounces of orange juice and 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. Okay, so now that I've gotten that part done, I'm going to muddle the peaches. time to add our most important ingredient, rum. I'm going to use Appleton Signature, and I'm putting in 2 ounces of it. Then I'm going to do a 1/4 ounce of peach liqueur, and this Peachtree schnapps, it's all I could find. So I'm sure there's better ones out there, but I thought with it being just a 1/4 ounce, and like I had it already, it'll do. Finally, we're going to put 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of coconut cream. I'm going to use the Lieber & Co. toasted coconut syrup. You could make your own. You could use this one, the real. I think any of them will work all right. So now that we have all those, I'm going to take this, and this has just like a little ledge that you kind of put the cup on and a little clip to hold it in. And I'm going to blend this for about 5 or 10 seconds. I don't have a lot of experience with this thing, so let me know if I'm doing it right. Oh, and I was supposed to put the ice in before I did it, so I'm gonna... See, I told you, this is amateur hour with this thing. So I'm putting quite a bit of ice in it. I'll do it again. That shouldn't hurt it. It does give it kind of a nice like froth. Probably a little better than I'd get from shaking it. So the next thing, I'm going to strain it into my Blanche glass. And yesterday I made a test one and I tried to do it without straining, but there were just too many pieces of the peach skin. And the book says to double strain it, but I'm just gonna use my 1 strainer. It was actually fine that way to me. I don't mind if a few pieces of peach get in because I want the person drinking it to know how hard I worked on this. And for her, I have a nice slice of peach. I'm gonna grate some nutmeg over it. This High Roller Tiki Lounge Swizzle Stick, I think it's very on brand for Blanche. So I'm gonna put that in there and use my green Surfside Sip Straw just for some contrast. And I also have a Trader Vic's coaster and I'll swizzle stick from there. I didn't want to put this one in the drink because I didn't want to mess it up. It's wooden, so I think Blanche would appreciate the smooth, silky, and some would even say tantalizing texture of the Peachtree Punch 2.0. So let's move on to this cute little Sophia Tiki mug. For Sophia Petrillo, we're going with a Lost Lake cocktail. Why? Because it features 2 Italian ingredients, Luxardo Maraschino liqueur and Campari. It's a little sweet and a little bitter, just like Sophia.
Ma, what is that you're knitting?
A bottle cover for the sherry.
Why do we need to cover the sherry?
Not the sherry here in the house. The sherry I take to the park. You drink out of a paper bag in the park, and suddenly everybody's your friend.
This one was invented by bartender Paul McGee at Lost Lake in Chicago, which is also permanently closed. Again, I'm glad the recipe lives on. For our Lost Lake, we're going to start out with 2 ounces of Jamaican rum. I'm going to use my go-to Appleton Signature. We'll do a 1/4 ounce, or about 8 milliliters of Campari, and a 1/4 ounce of the Luxardo. 1/2 ounce, or about 15 milliliters of pineapple juice. And the recipe calls for 3/4 ounce of passion fruit syrup, and I've been using the Chinola passion fruit liqueur as a substitution. It may be slightly more tart than a syrup, but I'm okay with that. If you feel like it's too tart, just maybe add a little bit of simple syrup. But we're gonna just go with 3/4 ounce of this and do a 1-to-1 swap. And if you're interested in more Chinola cocktails, I have 2 videos on it. I'll leave some links to those. And we will do 3/4 ounce or 22 milliliters of lime juice. So just like before, I'm gonna fill up this Sophia mug with plenty of ice and put a little in my tin. Got a nice little shake. And for Sophia's garnish, since this is called the Lost Lake, I've got this little anchor with 3 Luxardo cherries, and I thought a lime wheel would look good on it. There you have it, a cocktail as bold as Sophia's stories about Sicily, the Lost Lake. Finally, we've got Rose Nyland. In real life, Betty White loved vodka on the rocks with a heavy hand of lemon. Since there aren't many tiki drinks featuring vodka, we're going with Harry Hee's Blue Hawaii. Invented in 1957, it's bright, cheerful, and just a little goofy. Perfect for a rose.
I hate doing most after a party.
Trying to find your underwear in the big pile?
I found this recipe on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, and it's a classic for a reason. So for this one, we're going to start out with 3/4 of an ounce or 22 milliliters of vodka, 3/4 of an ounce or 22 milliliters of light rum, half an ounce of blue curacao. All 4 of these drinks are really nice colors, so it's almost a shame to hide them with the mugs. I really like the look of the blue drinks. And we'll do half an ounce of simple syrup and half an ounce of lemon juice. The original spec calls for an ounce of sweet and sour mix, so this is basically like making your own on the fly. And then we'll do 3 ounces of pineapple juice. And you should know the drill by now. We're gonna fill this up almost to the top with ice. This one also doesn't need a ton of shaking. And you'll always feel like you're putting way too much ice in the tiki mugs, but it tends to kind of settle after a while. So we'll top this one off with just a little more of the ice. And I'm really kind of going nuts on the garnishes for Rose. It's just, I feel like it suits the character. So I've got a lemon with an umbrella. I thought this would be really nice for color contrast. And we have our Surfside Sip straw, of course. So there's our Blue Hawaii and the Rose Nyland mug. Alright, now it's finally time to taste all 4 of these. If you remember, we made a Bitter Mai Tai in the Dorothy mug. I'm really looking forward to this one. I haven't actually had this one before, but it reminds me a lot of the Jungle Bird, which is another tiki drink with Campari in it. And Smith & Cross, it's really hard for that to get lost, so I think it was a really good choice for the rum in this one. I'm pretty happy with this. So Dorothy would probably be totally fine with the Bitter Mai Tai being her drink. Had to go in for a second sip, I liked it so much. So next up we have Blanche. So we did the Peachtree Punch for her, and I did forget one of the ingredients. It actually uses an ounce of seltzer. Last night I made one with the seltzer, so we'll see. Maybe I'll find it just as good without it, but just in the interest of full disclosure. And I also think my peaches were riper today, so I think it's already better because of that. But I don't think the seltzer would like hurt it or harm it. Like maybe it would have gotten even more of a frothy texture from the drink mixer that I used, but that one's really good. It's a nice, easy drinker, kind of like the opposite of these like bitter Campari drinks, and I think this suits Blanche really well. So next we have the Lost Lake. I've had this one a few times and I already know I like it, but let's refresh our memory. It's kind of like a slightly more fruity version of the Bitter Mai Tai. Not quite as funky because we use the Appleton Signature instead of the Smith & Cross, but these are both really good drinks, and I kind of knew when I planned this out that the 2 I'll probably drink are these. No offense to the other 2. And finally we have Rose with the Blue Hawaii. And this one, it just kind of reminds me of something you would get at one of those like Florida beachfront tiki bars. It's not really a tiki bar, but it's a pretty tasty drink. Not super complicated, but fun and nice looking. And the color is cool too if you can see it. So, which one of these drinks is your favorite? Are you a Dorothy, a Blanche, a Sophia, or a Rose? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you next time, and as always, thank you for being a friend.